First contact protocols, the transport shuttle hummed as it descended through Zathara Prime's atmosphere, and Dr. Alina Russo pressed her face against the viewport. Watching 3 violet moons emerge through wisps of silver clouds, her reflection stared back at her. Dark hair pulled into a practical bun, green eyes tired from the 2-week journey from Earth, the diplomatic station appeared ahead. A spinning wheel of metal and glass that seemed impossibly fragile against the vastness of space. Nervous. Ambassador Marcus Webb's voice crackled through her headset. He sat across from her, his silver beard neatly trimmed. His diplomatic uniform pristine, despite the long journey terrified, actually, Alina admitted. Turning away from the viewport, away. Xenobiologist doesn't usually get called for diplomatic missions. What exactly does Queen Vallana want from me? Marcus leaned forward, his expression serious. The Zetharans are telepathic. You know that physical touch is incredibly rare in their culture. Reserved for the most sacred ceremonies, the Queen has been isolated for nearly 200 years, connected mentally to billions of her people, but never truly known by anyone. She's requesting something called the Cathra ritual, which is a therapeutic ceremony involving systematic touch, what we might call massage, Marcus said carefully among Zetharans. It's considered more intimate than telepathy, because the body cannot lie. Physical contact creates what they call resonance. An emotional exchange without filters. The Queen believes this ritual will prove whether humans possess genuine empathy or just political calculation. Alina felt her stomach tighten, and if I refuse, the alliance fails, Earth loses access to Zetharan medical technology. Their quantum communication networks, their protection in this sector, Marcus met her eyes, no pressure. But you're potentially holding the fate of human expansion in your hands. Great, Alina muttered, just what I needed on my resume. The shuttle docked with a metallic clang that reverberated through. The whole Alina gathered her research tablet and followed Marcus through the airlock. The station's interior was a strange blend of human efficiency and Zetharan aesthetics. Corridors lined with bioluminescent panels that pulsed with soft purple light. She noticed station personnel, both human and Zetharan, moving with purpose. Some of the Zetharans glanced at her with their large, luminous eyes, their purple skin almost glowing in the dim light. Zetharan attendant approached. Tall and graceful, wearing robes that seemed to flow like liquid, her skin was deep purple, marked with geometric patterns that shifted slowly across her shoulders and arms. Dr. Russo, I am Kella, Queen's personal attendant. Her Majesty awaits you in the ceremonial chamber. Alina exchanged a quick glance with Marcus, who nodded encouragingly. She followed Kella through winding corridors that gradually became less human in design. The walls here were alive, covered in crystalline formations that hummed with faint vibration. The air grew warmer, scented with something like cinnamon and ozone. You honor us with your willingness, Kella said softly. The Queen has not experienced Cathra in many cycles. She carries great hope for this meeting. I'll do my best, Alina replied, though her hands trembled slightly. Can you tell me what to expect? Kella paused before a massive door carved from what looked like a single piece of dark crystal. The Queen will explain she has been preparing herself for vulnerability, which is not easy for one who rules millions. Approach with respect, but also with honesty. Zetharans sense deception like humans sense temperature. The doors opened, and Alina stepped into a chamber that took her breath away. The space was vast, with a domed ceiling that displayed the swirling cosmos above. Floating crystals rotated slowly throughout the room, each one pulsing with internal light. Strange plants grew without visible soil, their fronds reaching upward, glowing with soft purple and green luminescence. Sand there. On a raised platform of polished stone sat Queen Vallana. Alina had seen images, but they hadn't captured the reality. The Queen was nearly 8 feet tall, even seated, her purple skin seeming to contain entire galaxies of light that moved beneath the surface like slow auroras. Her features were sharp, yet beautiful, with high cheekbones and full lips, her eyes large and bright, held depths that suggested centuries of experience. Her ears swept upward and back from her head in elegant arcs, longer than any Zetharan Alina had seen. She wore robes of deep violet that might have been fabric or living light. Dr. Rousseau. The Queen's voice entered Alina's mind directly, bypassing her ears entirely. The sensation was strange but not unpleasant. Like hearing music through water, you have traveled far, Alina bowed. Remembering the briefing protocols, Your Majesty? I'm honored by your invitation. Your fear is honest. The mental voice carried warmth. That is good. We begin with truth. The Queen's burden queen, Valana, descended from her platform with movements that seemed to defy gravity. Each step flowing into the next like water finding its path. Alina stood frozen, acutely aware that she was in the presence of someone who had ruled an empire. Before Alina's great-grandparents were born, the Queen's luminous eyes studied her, and Alina felt a gentle pressure behind her thoughts, not invasive but present. Like someone standing just outside a doorway, your mind is loud with questions. Valana's mental voice held something that might have been amusement. This is common among humans, you think in streams. Cascades of thought upon thought, my people think in patterns. Geometric and precise. I apologize if I'm difficult to read. Your Majesty, Alina thought carefully, unsure if she was projecting correctly. On the contrary. You are refreshingly transparent, the Queen gestured toward a lower section of the chamber, where the crystalline floor transitioned into something darker and warmer. Come, let us speak of why you are truly here. Alina followed, her boots silent on the shifting surface. They reached an area where the floor seemed almost organic. Warm beneath her feet, Valana settled onto a low dais that rose from the ground itself. Flowing upward like living stone, the Queen arranged herself with careful dignity, her long legs extending before her, her robes pooling around her like liquid shadow for 2 centuries. I have been connected to my people. Valana's voice resonated through Alina's consciousness. I feel their joys when they bond, their sorrows when they lose loved ones, their triumphs and failures. I am never alone in my mind. Millions of thoughts brush against mine every moment. Seeking guidance, seeking comfort, seeking judgment, the Queen's skin shifted to a deeper purple, the patterns beneath moving faster, and yet I am profoundly isolated. To be telepathic is to know everyone's surface thoughts, their projections, their carefully constructed versions of themselves. My people revere me. Yes, they fear disappointing me. They shape their thoughts in my presence like courtiers. Wearing masks, I have not experienced genuine, unguarded connections since before I took the throne. Alina felt unexpected sympathy wash through her. That sounds incredibly lonely, you understand. Valana's eyes brightened slightly. Your Ambassador Webb. He thinks in strategies and outcomes. He is a good man, but he sees me as a chess piece. Valuable and powerful, but ultimately a means to an end. You see me as a person. This is why I requested you specifically. You requested me. Alina blinked in surprise. I thought this was random selection. Nothing in diplomacy is random, Dr. Russo. There was definite amusement now. I have been observing human communications for years. I saw your presentation on empathy development in social species. You argued that true connection requires vulnerability, that beings who never risk emotional exposure cannot form genuine bonds. Your words resonated with me in ways your people's political speeches never could. The Queen shifted slightly, and Alina noticed the movement held a hint of nervousness despite her. Regal bearing the Cathra ritual is sacred among my people. It is performed between parents and children, between bonded partners, between those who trust each other completely. One being tends to another through touch, and in that contact, our quantum states align. Emotions transfer without barrier or translation. The body cannot lie, cannot filter, cannot pretend. And you want me to perform this ritual with you? Alina said softly. Understanding blooming, I need to know if your species possesses true empathy or merely mimics it for advantage. Valana's mental voice grew quieter. More vulnerable, I need to know if I can trust humanity, not just with trade agreements and military alliances, but with something more precious. My people are dying, Dr. Rousseau, not physically, but emotionally. We have become so interconnected that we have forgotten how to truly connect. We need to remember. And perhaps your people, with your isolated minds and your desperate need for contact, can teach us. Alina knelt slowly, her knees meeting the warm floor, her heart hammered against her ribs. This was so far beyond xenobiology research that it existed in another realm entirely. I'm not trained for this, Your Majesty. I study alien life. I don't perform sacred rituals. You are exactly what is needed, Valana said firmly. Not a diplomat who sees advantage, not a politician who sees opportunity, but a scientist who seeks understanding. Will you help me, Alina Russo? Will you risk this strangeness, this vulnerability, to show me what human connection truly means? Alina looked up at the Queen, at the patterns of light moving beneath purple skin. At the centuries of loneliness held in those luminous eyes, she thought of her own isolation. The years spent studying alien species from a distance. Afraid to truly engage. Afraid to be known, she thought of the burnt-out relationships, the walls she'd built. The safety of observation over participation, yes, she whispered. Then stronger, yes, I'll do it. Valana's skin brightened. The patterns accelerating, then we begin. The Queen extended her right leg slightly. The movement, both regal and hesitant. Place your hands upon me, and let us discover what truth feels like. Elena's hands trembled as she reached forward. This single touch would determine the future of two civilizations. She took a breath and made contact. Breaking barriers the moment Elena's hands touched Valana's calf. The world shifted. The Queen's skin was cooler than human flesh, impossibly smooth. Like touching polished silk that somehow held the texture of living warmth beneath the surface, Alina felt a faint vibration. A quantum hum that resonated up through her palms and into her bones. But more than the physical sensation was the overwhelming rush of emotion that flooded through her loneliness deep. Ancient, crushing loneliness that made Alina gasp, breathe through it. Valana's mental voice was gentle. Tinged with concern, the resonance can be overwhelming at first. Your nervous system is adjusting to mine. Alina forced herself to breathe slowly, her thumbs beginning to work in careful circles along the Queen's calf muscle. The purple skin darkened slightly where she applied pressure. The bioluminescent patterns beneath, accelerating their dance. She had no training for this. No protocol to follow. Just instinct and the desire to provide comfort as her hands moved. Alina felt the connection deepen. Memories that weren't hers began to filter through Valana as a young princess. Standing before the crystalline throne while her mother's consciousness transferred into the planetary network, the weight of billions of minds suddenly pressing against her own. The first century of rule spent learning to carry that burden without breaking the slow realization that she would never again experience a private thought, a personal moment. In unguarded conversation, I see them, Alina whispered, tears streaming down her face, though she didn't know why. I see all of them. Your Majesty, so many voices, so many needs, and you carry them all? It is my purpose, Valana replied. But Alina felt the ache beneath those words, the sacrifice, the endless duty, the erasure of self in service to others. Elena's hands moved higher. Working along the Queen's knee with gentle pressure, she found herself sharing her own memories in return, not consciously, but as if the physical contact opened doors she'd kept locked, her childhood spent moving between research stations, never staying anywhere long enough to form lasting friendships. Her mother's disappointment when she chose xenobiology over medicine. Practical, over prestigious, the failed engagement to another researcher who'd wanted her to be less absorbed in her work. Less distant, less her. You fear connection as much as you crave it, Valana observed. And there was no judgment in her tone, only recognition. You study life from behind glass walls. Cataloging and analyzing, but never truly participating. We are not so different. You and I. The resonance intensified. Alina felt Valana's skin growing warmer beneath her touch. The patterns of light shifting to brighter hues. The Queen's breathing, which Alina hadn't noticed before, grew deeper. More relaxed. Centuries of tension seemed to melt under Elena's careful ministrations. This is extraordinary. Valana's mental voice held wonder. I can feel your intention. Your genuine desire to comfort me. There is no calculation here, no hidden agenda, just simple, honest compassion. When did you last allow yourself to be this open with another being? Alina paused, her hands stilling. I don't remember. Maybe never. Then we were both discovering something new. The Queen's hand moved slowly, carefully, to rest atop Elena's. Among my people. This would be the highest form of trust, to touch and be touched without barriers, without pretense. You honor me greatly, Alina Russo, and you humble me. Their eyes met, human green and alien luminescence. And something passed between them that transcended species or culture. Alina saw Valana not as a queen, not as an alien, not as a diplomatic necessity, but as a person lonely, vulnerable, desperate for genuine connection, and in that moment, she knew Valana saw her the same way, Your Majesty, Alina began. But the Queen interrupted gently when we are in resonance. You may call me Valana. Titles are for those who maintain distance. We have moved beyond such barriers. Alina felt warmth bloom in her chest. Something that felt dangerously like hope. Then you should call me Alina. Just Alina. Valana's lips curved into a smile. The first, genuine expression Alina had seen cross her face. Just Alina, Queen repeated, and the words felt like a promise. Unexpected feelings. 3 days passed, and the Cathra ritual continued each evening. Alina found herself thinking about Valana during every waking hour, anticipating their sessions with an excitement that felt unprofessional and entirely too personal. Ambassador Webb had stopped asking for progress reports, seemingly satisfied that the diplomatic mission was succeeding. But he hadn't seen what was really happening between them in the fourth evening. Alina entered the ceremonial chamber to find Valana already waiting. But the Queen had moved to a more intimate setting, a smaller room within the palace. Walls of deep violet crystal that pulsed with soft light, there were cushions scattered across the warm floor, and the air held that cinnamon spice scent Alina had come to associate with the Queen's presence. I thought we might be more comfortable here. Valana's mental voice was softer than usual. The throne room is beautiful, but it carries the weight of ceremony. I wanted something different tonight. Alina settled onto the cushions, and Valana positioned herself closer than protocol probably demanded. The Queen wore simpler robes tonight, the fabric clinging to her form in ways that made Alina acutely aware of the body beneath. She pushed the thought aside. Professional boundaries already crumbling faster than she could rebuild them. Your heart rate has increased, Valana observed as Alina's hands found their familiar place on the Queen's calf. Your palms are warmer than usual. What troubles you, just Alina? Nothing troubles me, Alina lied, her hands beginning their practiced movements. I'm just tired from the day's work. Your body tells me differently. Valana's skin shifted to a warmer purple, almost lavender. Where Alina touched, the resonance grows stronger each session. I can feel more of you now. Your attraction, your confusion, your fear of what this is becoming. Alina's hands stilled, panic flooding through her. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I didn't mean to. I can request a replacement if I've made you uncomfortable. Stop. Valana's mental voice was firm but gentle. I did not mention it to shame you. I mentioned it because I feel the same. The words hung in the air between them. Impossible and terrifying. Alina looked up to find Valana watching her with an expression that was unmistakably tender. The patterns beneath the Queen's purple skin swirled faster. Brighter colors Alina had never seen before emerging in the dance. This cannot happen, Alina whispered. You're a queen. I'm just a researcher. We're different species. This was supposed to be diplomatic. Professional. It was supposed to be honest, Valana interrupted. And this is honest. I have lived for centuries. Alina, I have touched the minds of billions. I know what I feel. And I know it is unprecedented and possibly foolish and entirely real. Valana's hand reached out, fingers brushing Alina's cheek with feather-like contact. The touch sent electricity through Alina's entire body, the quantum resonance amplifying every sensation among my people. We choose our bonds carefully. Physical intimacy creates lasting connections, neural pathways that endure. I am offering you something I have not offered anyone in 200 years, the choice to see me, to know me, to perhaps love me. This is insane, Alina breathed. But she didn't pull away the diplomatic implications alone. Let me worry about diplomacy, Valana said. I am asking about your heart. What does it want? Alina thought of every reason to say no, every logical argument against this impossible situation. Then she thought of Valana's loneliness, mirroring her own, the way they understood each other across the vast gulf of species and culture. The simple truth that in 4 days, this alien queen had seen her more clearly than anyone in her entire life. It wants you, Alina admitted, her voice barely audible against all reason and logic. It wants you. Valana's smile was radiant, her entire body brightening with bioluminescent joy. She leaned forward slowly, giving Alina every chance to retreat when Alina stayed still. The queen's lips brushed against hers. The kiss was gentle, exploratory. Careful Valana's lips were cooler than human, softer, and the sensation of contact sent waves of emotion through the resonance, joy, wonder, relief. Desire all amplified and shared between them. Elena's hands moved from the queen's leg to her face, cradling that beautiful alien features between her palms. When they finally parted, both were breathing heavily. The air around them charged with possibility. This will complicate everything. Elena said yes. Valana agreed, her forehead resting against Elena's. Are you willing to face that complication with me? Elena kissed her again, longer this time, deeper, her answer clear without words. Asterisk, asterisk. A new alliance ambassador. Webb's expression shifted from concern to careful consideration as he reviewed the proposal on his tablet. The conference room felt too small suddenly, the air thick with tension. Elena squeezed Valana's hand beneath the table, drawing strength from the quantum resonance that still hummed between them, even without direct skin contact. This is unprecedented, Webb said finally, looking up at them both. A personal relationship between a human scientist and an alien head of state as the foundation for interspecies cooperation. The Terran Council will have concerns, significant ones. Then perhaps the Terran Council needs to evolve its thinking. Valana's mental voice was firm, projecting authority. For 200 years, my people have watched humanity expand through the sector. Always calculating, always seeking advantage. You negotiate from fear, not from hope. What Elena has shown me is that humans are capable of genuine connection, of vulnerability, of choosing trust over transaction. This is worth more than any trade agreement. Webb leaned back in his chair, his fingers steepled. And if this relationship ends, if personal feelings change, we'd be building diplomatic policy on something as unstable as romance. All relationships are unstable, Ambassador Elena interjected, finding her voice. Every alliance, every treaty, every partnership between nations depends on individuals choosing to honor their commitments. What Valana and I are proposing is honesty about that foundation, yes. We've developed feelings for each other, but more importantly, we've discovered a protocol for genuine cultural exchange. The Cathra ritual could be taught to diplomats, to cultural liaisons. It creates understanding that bypasses language and preconception. Valana's skin brightened slightly, the patterns beneath shifting to warm hues. I am prepared to open the ritual to select humans, to train them in Zethran emotional resonance. Elena will serve as the first official cultural liaison, living between our worlds, teaching my people about human individuality while learning our methods of collective harmony. This is not just about us. It is about building bridges that have never existed before. Webb was silent for a long moment, his gaze moving between them. The council will demand safeguards, oversight, clear protocols for what? Valana interrupted gently. For love. For connection. You cannot legislate the heart, Ambassador. You can only choose whether to support it or suppress it. My people have spent centuries suppressing individual desire in favor of collective harmony. It has nearly destroyed us. Humans suppress emotional vulnerability in favor of strategic advantage. It isolates you. Neither approach serves life. Elena watched something shift in Webb's eyes, a softening. She hadn't expected. You really believe this can work? He said quietly. And it wasn't quite a question. I know it can, Elena replied, because it already is working. Valana and I come from completely different worlds, different biologies, different ways of thinking, but through touch, through honesty, through choosing to see each other as people rather than obstacles or opportunities, we found something real that's replicable, that's teachable. Webb stood, walking to the viewport, his hands clasped behind his back. The violet moons hung in the darkness like jewels. My daughter married someone I didn't approve of, he said suddenly. Wrong background, wrong profession, wrong everything by my calculation. I gave her all the logical reasons it wouldn't work. He turned back to face them. They've been happily married for 15 years now, and I was an idiot. Maybe I'm getting old, or maybe watching you two has reminded me that logic isn't everything. Hope bloomed in Elena's chest. Does that mean it means I'll present your proposal to the council with my full support? Webb said, a small smile breaking through his diplomatic mask. I'll emphasize the cultural exchange aspects. the potential for new therapeutic applications of the Cathra ritual, the opportunity for humans to learn Zetheran telepathic techniques, but between us, I'll be arguing that sometimes the best diplomacy is just letting people connect. Valana rose gracefully, her height suddenly impressive in the small room. You honor us. Ambassador, your wisdom will not be forgotten. 3 months later, Alina stood in a newly constructed facility on the border. Between human and Zetheran space, the building was a masterpiece of collaborative architecture, blending human efficiency with Zetheran organic design around her. The first class of cultural liaisons, both human and Zetheran, prepared for their initial Cathra training. Valana appeared in the doorway, and Alina's heart still skipped at the sight of her. The queen wore simpler robes now, having delegated some governance duties to her council to spend more time on the cultural exchange program. Their relationship had weathered scrutiny, skepticism, and countless diplomatic complications, but it had also flourished, deepening in ways Alina never imagined possible. Ready? Valana's mental voice was warm, intimate, meant only for Alina always, Alina replied aloud. Reaching for the queen's hand as their fingers intertwined, the resonance sparked between them. That familiar quantum hum of two beings choosing connection over isolation together. They walked into the training hall where humans and Zetherons waited, nervous and hopeful, ready to learn what Alina and Valana had discovered, that the greatest diplomacy begins not with treaties or trade agreements, but with the simple courage to reach out and touch another being with honesty, with vulnerability, with the radical hope that understanding is possible in the audience. Ambassador Webb watched with satisfaction, already drafting his report to the Terran Council. It would emphasize strategic advantages and cultural opportunities, but in his private notes, he would write something simpler. Sometimes the heart knows what politics cannot calculate, and sometimes love really does change everything. The first Cathra session began, and across two species barriers began to fall. The end.